It was over 100 and some thousand because our house was valued at like...
What happened in 1944?
Well, a tornado came across West Virginia and Pennsylvania and killed about 168 people plus, including my sister, who was 5 months old. She had been born on my mother's birthday, and it was June 23rd, 1944. And she was in my mother's arms, and tornado had picked them up and carried them into a field. And my sister was, of course, my mother couldn't hold her with all the force, and she was found in a field. And my mother described it to a T what the weather conditions were that night. And that's what saved our lives here on July 12th, because we never used to heed the weather warnings. We figured, you know, what are the chances of a tornado hitting the Zarbaughs more than once? Well, we know it's 1 in something, but we know, you know, that's what saved our lives. We just made it to the basement.
What were the weather conditions? How'd the sky look?
Well, the sky, it was perfect day until late evening, and then all of a sudden the wind was pushing trees around, the rain, and it just got completely still. The rain stopped, the wind stopped, and the sky got this ugly yellow color, and that's the color my mother described and the conditions my mother described when my sister was killed. And I told my wife and son, get to the basement now. And we just made it to the basement, and all of a sudden we hear the glass breaking. We didn't hear any freight trains, we didn't hear anything, but we heard the glass breaking of our windows and everything else up here. We had nightmares of glass breaking for a long time after that.
And what happened in the basement? Did any of the windows break down there?
Yeah, there was a 2x6 from somewhere. Somebody's house came flying through the basement like shrapnel or a bomb, and it was over our heads. I mean, we have an 8-foot basement, so it was over our heads because we were laying completely flat down on the ground. But it did not hit us.
How long did it last?
It seemed like a long time, but probably 3 to 5 minutes.
And you all picked yourself up and you were fine? And
we were all fine, but I made him stay downstairs, and I came up, opened the door to the basement, and looked around and said, oh, there's not a lot here.
There was part of the structure standing?
Yeah, my wife thinks there may have been 2 tornadoes, but because it tore down the west side of the house, it tore down the east side of the house, and left part of the middle part partially standing. So either that or just the way it hit. And but I opened the door to the garage, and everything from the garage was gone. Just the truck and the car sitting out there.
And some of your neighbors had heavy damage too.
Oh yeah, there was 3 other homes torn down too. Everybody had to tear everything down and start all the way over again. When
there's a tornado like happened the other day, what goes through your mind?
We went on to Joplin.
Yes.
Well, truthfully, the first thing that goes through my mind is probably selfish, is that thank God no one was hurt in our tornadoes. I mean, that's very selfish. But I can feel for them, I understand them. I can't understand on the scale, even though my mother went through that type of scale in a smaller area, but there was 168 people killed. About the same as Joplin, somewhere in that area, but you can't comprehend what it takes to rebuild. You know, it took us from July, we didn't move back into this house until December. You know, and it seemed like it took 3 years to rebuild because you're not in your own home.